Barbara. I'm really humbled and honored to stand on the stage of the Apollo and to be asked to even give any comments, share any thoughts with all of you. And when Barbara called, I asked myself, I wonder why I would be called here, and I sort of thought of two reasons. One is after 30 years, we're finally starting to make a little traction and gain a little traction in this little area to the west of us here. And I'm proud of that. It's been a lot of work, and I think things are really about to take off. And the second is that there's a little buzz around about some tangential interest I have in the arts and different arts groups that we've tried to support, and the importance that I place the arts in relative to any community. Then I thought about why I probably wouldn't be invited back next year. And on those same 2 points, one is that, for those who haven't noticed, the big boys are on 125th Street now. And for whatever I've accomplished in 30 years, I think next year I'm going to be a charming and quaint memory as the Durst organization and Savannah and Joe Sitt and Thor and Gary Barnett and Extel and everybody else who's sniffing around, looking around. Our own Jim Simmons here, put him with the big boys. And so we're all watching the beginning of a really dramatic change, and it's exciting and it's scary and it's inevitable, I think. And the second point that I made, the reason I won't be invited back, is that when I think about the arts and business, I don't think about the importance of the arts as driving business or as a business attraction. I think the arts are critical in and of themselves, and I think it's the role of business to support the arts for a lot of reasons. There's no question that the arts and artists give all of us a unique perspective on our own lives, on our own time. They offer a visionary's view of where we are relative to history and the future. And they're a component, they've always been a critical component throughout history of any healthy community. And in our own time, I think you can argue they're even more important during periods of questionable health. And I think a lot of the arts speaking up in the last year and a half have taken a lead in this role nationally, in particular. But I also do think that there is a connection between arts and business and the economic value of the two together. Everyone in this room is well aware of the importance of all of these incredible, world-renowned arts institutions that line 125th Street and the extraordinary women who lead them, who we're going to hear from shortly, not to mention the Hispanic Society to the north and the west of where we're sitting right now. But when we are out there talking to commercial tenants in particular and trying to attract them to this neighborhood, I hear more about, is it safe? Where do I go for lunch? How do I get a taxi? How close am I to a subway or the highway? Can I get parking? Questions that other neighborhoods, the questions are just as valid, but people don't ask. And I never hear about, gee, what's the current show? Whether it's at the Studio Museum or the Harlem Stage, or even now in our district, Gavin Brown's Enterprise, who's doing international quality work. And so from a straight marketing perspective, I think that business and the arts need to and have to collaborate for the benefit of the community, and to allow everyone to think through where this community should be going, even as to some extent the bicycle's being built at the same time we're riding it. And so one question is, how do and to what end are business and the arts expected to come together? especially when everything in Harlem, of course, everything new in Harlem is rightfully layered with historical context, and that type of important thought about the future. And as Thelma once discussed with me, which I hadn't fully appreciated when we talked about it, is really the imperative that these arts organizations who have been here so long and who, for the most part, have been lucky enough to, and their founders had enough foresight to buy their buildings and give them the strength to last, to this moment and into the future. The importance of those institutions playing a dominant role, having a unified, powerful voice in what the future and where these inevitable changes that we're literally living through in real time ultimately mean in this community. And so in order to do that, I think Harlem business has to be a part of the mix, and I applaud everything that Barbara's done and the necessity of pulling that west on 125th Street and off 125th Street, and certainly connecting what Columbia University is doing to Central Harlem and East Harlem, and to what hopefully little by little we're going to show has been a valuable addition to the community. So really, in summary, it's my feeling that it's not because the arts are good for business, or that when we look at other communities, the artists came first, and then before you knew it, we're the hip stores and restaurants and bars. It's really, I think, because without the arts, business in any community, and maybe especially in this community, becomes meaningless. So, thank you.